Hi, and welcome to Money Mastery with DeDe. I'm DeDe Jones with Innovative Financial, and today we have a special guest. I'm so excited to introduce you to Tom Koslowski. He is a realtor in Summit County and so much a font of knowledge. I can't wait for you to hear what he has to say today. How you doing, Tom?
Hey, DeDe, I'm doing well, and thank you for having me on your podcast and on this video.
So glad you could join us. So we were talking before we got started that it's right now it's late May and it is mud season up in Summit County. Hence the sweater. You know, if you're
yeah, thank you for noticing that, DeDe. Okay,
that's okay.
It was cool this morning. It is mud season. You know, a little bit overcast.
So talk about mud season. What does that mean if you're up in a mountain location? Because that's not a Denver thing.
But no, it's not. No, it's not. But tell you, before going into mud season, I got to tell you, okay, we still have in Colorado over 300 days of sunshine every single year. Okay, so it is the best place you could ever come to live. Okay, and it's all Colorado, not only mountains, but on the mountains, the sun is just a little bit stronger because we're just a little higher up and closer to it. Okay, just another 5,000 feet. You know,
just a little.
We just love it. We just love it. Okay, But you asked a question about mud season. You know something? Mud season is our slowest season for real estate. Okay, it's a transitional. You know, some people call it the shoulder season. Some people it's the mud season kind of stuff. You know, and the mud season is really for the folks that are not from down here or up here in the mountains or Colorado. You know, the mud season is basically because all the snow is melting. All the trails are very muddy. Okay, it's very tough. So it's it's tough to hike. It's tough to bike. You can't get out there on the biking outside. And in Summit County, most of us up here are very outdoorsy folks that enjoy the hiking, biking, skiing, snowshoeing, you name it. Anything we can do outside, we can do it. So, but the mud season kind of slows us down. So, and that includes the business as well. Okay, so a lot of people are still transitioning from the clients, especially. They're transitioning. They're finishing up their winter. Okay, the kids are graduating high school, to college, and it's really our market really picks up in a couple of weeks, right after Memorial Day weekend. We see a big influx of buyers and sellers, new homes coming to the market, and that kind of stuff. So
that's the reason you have time to talk with me today. Is we caught you at the slowest time in the year. Thank goodness.
Yes. Okay. And something, and because I think we'll talk about some short-term rental opportunities, second homes. We have two shoulder seasons, 2 mud seasons up in the county. Okay, one is now between it kind of ends. It begins when the ski resorts close down around mid-April, and it goes through June kind of stuff. It's a springtime. And then we have another mud season when we get back into wintertime again, so come mid-October, October, November, those 4 or 5 weeks kind of stuff. And the same thing, it's a transitional season. The summer's already ended. It's starting to snow, but it's really not sticking yet. You can't ski. But you can't get out there to the hiking and the biking on these trails because they get muddy as well. So
those 2 shoulder seasons, are those buying opportunities for people?
No, something, the buying opportunities is like this. They're buying opportunities year round because we look at the supply and demand. Okay.
Yeah.
Typically there's less homes available in the mud season for sale, but there's also less buyers looking for it. Okay. Our season for the market really, the more homes come on, and just beginning end of May, beginning in June, more homes come on the market, but also the more buyers are coming on the market as well. Okay, they're available to come up to the mountains to see the properties and to actually purchase properties. So during the snow season, it's less properties on the market, but less buyers. During the peak season, it is more properties to look at, but there's more competition from the buyers to look at those properties because they're aggressively looking in the summertime because the kids are out of school, they're vacationing up here, they're spending the week. They have the weekends to come up here actually to look at properties, especially the ones that are serious about buying up here.
Okay, so what kind of buyer is a good buyer? Not necessarily a qualified buyer, but who are the kind of people who are going to appreciate having a mountain property?
Something. So it's in the last year. So typically before the COVID pandemic hit, last year kind of stuff. Typically, it's about 80% of the homes that we sell up here are for second homes, second homes, vacation homes, or investment properties. Somebody just buys it, they want to just short-term rent it. Okay, but primarily are those. There's less investment properties than people buy it versus second homes. People do truly want to come up here to enjoy the their home, the environment, the Summit County kind of stuff, but yet be able to rent out that home when they're not using it to offset some of the expenses, of that home. If it's the HOA expenses, the property taxes, the mortgage, insurance, the typical things of home ownership. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but it's about 80% of our market up here is secondary homes. Now, well, what happened to us last year, though, what we saw is a big influx of primary residents. Okay. People looking for their primary home versus just a second home. People early on, even in June, July of last year, just when we were opening back up after the COVID shutdown, what we saw was that people realized that, hey, now I've been working from home now for 2-3 months. I like working from home. If I have to work from home, why not work from somewhere I really want to be? And it's usually the people that's been coming up to Summit County for quite some time. They know the market, they know the area. They are the outdoorsy folks, and it's more of a lifestyle living change for them. Yeah. So they were selling the homes, in the Front Range or anywhere else, and saying, hey, I can work from anywhere. And if I can work from anywhere, I want to work from Summit County. Wow. So our demand for properties really increased last year because we had not only people were looking for second homes just to get out here for vacation, but the primary residence market really increased tremendously.
Interesting. How did the schools handle that? I presume there were more kiddos?
There's a lot more kiddos. I had the number, and I don't want to state the number, but it was in a couple hundred of kids, new kids. Enrolled in our school system, and we have a pretty small school system.
Right, yeah, that would be a big influence.
38,000 or so full-time residents. Okay,
yeah,
and we only have one high school, one middle school, and a half a dozen or so elementary schools scattered around the county, kind of stuff. Different neighborhoods. So when we have a several hundred kid increase, it puts a burden on our school district. So what we're happy, but the community is a very welcoming community, and we like the full timers as much as we like the second home owners.
Right,
up here.
Yes, and even those of us who are simply tourists passing through. It's
yes,
a lovely place to visit.
Yeah.
We do show money.
Yes, exactly, and we are a tourist, destination. I mean, it's with the 5 beautiful ski resorts. You're from Loveland Pass and the E-Basin Keystone. We're going to Breckenridge and Copper, and we're 20 minutes from Vail and Beaver Creek and the Eagle County kind of stuff. So it's a just phenomenal place to be. So we enjoy the visitors, and even people just passing by on 70, just not stopping by. Okay.
Hey, we always stop and wave. Yeah. We've always liked Dillon has been a family destination for us since I was very little.
Oh my goodness. See? And I just lived from Dillon. I just lived in Silverthorne. So that was one of the first places I ever came to visit when I came up here, 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. When I came to skiing the first time ever in Summit County, I stayed in Dillon. I had a little condo overlooking the lake, and it was a 3-day trip, and I fell in love with Summit County and the mountains. And 3 years later, I was living here full time.
Wow, that's a great story. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So what kind of questions, if somebody's interested in mountain property, what do they need to know about themselves to be successful mountain property owners?
First of all, have a good understanding, I think, of their usage. What do they want out of this property? Okay. How much do they want to use it? Are they going to use it themselves? Are they looking for, just for a quick weekend getaway? So maybe just a condo, 1 or 2 bedroom condo for a couple will work. If they even have 2 kids, 2-bedroom condo, because they say, hey, we just want to be on the weekends. We're not going to be up here during the week because we still have to have kids are in school, down in the Front Range, that kind of stuff. Or, there's families that say, hey, we want a family destination because, we've been coming up to Summit County all our lives. We want a family home that we can bring in, all the kids, the grandkids, and the cousins and that kind of stuff. So we want a 4 or 5 bedroom home, overlooking the mountains, close to ski area, that kind of stuff. So that drives really the need is first. Okay, once I can help with the client, understanding their needs and their whys, why they want to buy up here. Okay, whys are individual. Okay,
absolutely.
Individual, and probably in the last couple of years was really some of the trend I saw. I had a few clients actually that they were retiring, from their corporate jobs kind of stuff. They've been coming up to Summit County all the time. The kids have already grown. They're out of college. They're working. And the kids, because of the Denver area is so popular, a lot of the kids, even if they're from Texas, Tennessee, Nebraska, wherever, kids love Denver, okay? So they're young adults. They move to Denver. And the parents are saying, something, I want to be kind of close to the kids, but I want to be with the kids. We love the mountains. So they're buying homes in the mountains, okay? So they know it's a beautiful place, and it's the best way to attract your kids and the grandkids to come visit you by having a beautiful home up here. And
that's fun.
I've had that more than, oh my goodness, at least half a dozen, if not a dozen times with my clients. And they go, Tom, we just want to be close to the kids, but not with them, but we want the kids have a reason to visit us, okay? And it's maybe not us, but at least they'll visit us because we live in Summit County. So it's awesome.
It's like living next to Disney World or something.
Close sometimes. Okay, sometimes,
It's a similar motivation.
Yes, absolutely. But just looking more beautiful. So to me, is really understanding the why, and then once I understand the why, I can help them, with the location and the type of homes. Yeah. I said anywhere from condos to homes to, and then if some people say, hey, Tom, we want to be able to short-term rent this thing, so that it's important to know which neighborhoods still allow short-term rentals, okay, and which neighborhoods don't, because we have different HOAs. Almost every single condo complex up here is managed by a different HOA, and the HOA can dictate if short-term rentals, no short-term rentals. Okay, so it's to know that is important, and we have neighborhoods also ran by HOAs that are not condos; they're single-family homes that do not allow short-term rentals. Some neighborhoods is minimum rental is 6 months. Sometimes it's 30 days. Rental kind of stuff. So it's understanding, living up here and working up here, understanding the nuances of the neighborhoods of who does what and why helps identify the properties then for my clients, okay, versus having somebody up here that really just doesn't know the market that well, and all of a sudden you want to do short-term rentals, and you bought a place and then you realize there's no short-term rentals, or pets are another thing. You may have a pet, and there's condo complexes don't allow pets to anyone. Sometimes they allow it. Most times they allow it for the owners, but it's still unique by unit, property by property kind of stuff. That's kind of stuff try to stay abreast on. So when I do get opportunities to help somebody find a home up here, at least I know where to look and where not to look. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
it's a big investment, as DeDe. People are spending $300,000 to $400,000 for one or two, one bedroom condos, up to a couple $1 million. So these are huge investments, and a simple mistake could lead to a really disaster for the new owners.
Tell me a story of someone who's come to you thinking they want a mountain property, and that how you discovered that maybe that was a bad idea for them. What was that process like? How did you save them from disaster?
Something. I mean, to answer directly, I haven't had a client that did not, once they were looking up here, they did not, they were serious about it. They wanted to buy up here. Okay. But one thing I do try to be honest with the client is that when they own a second home up here, okay, a lot of times when they come on vacation especially the out-of-state clients, when they come to use the property for themselves, okay, a lot of times they're spending time working on their house just like they work on their house back home. Yeah. So it's like a working vacation sometimes. Now, some people just absolutely love it, enjoy it, and they're a handy person, and they do 3 or 4 trips to Lowe's every single week, and they do improvements and that kind of stuff. But some people don't realize that, the homes still need maintenance. Okay, they still need to be taken care of. Okay, right. Light bulbs go out. The faucet leaks and the toilet doesn't run properly. So there's things that sometimes the owners don't realize that. Hey, I'm going to spend 2 weeks up here, but I really don't want to work on a house for 2 weeks. Well, then maybe you don't need a house. Maybe you need a condo that the HOA takes care of 90% of your the maintenance kind of stuff. The snow shoveling, the painting, the windows, the common maintenance kind of stuff. So the only thing you're really worried about is just the inside versus having a yard and a driveway and you're responsible for from A to Z of all the maintenance and that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff. So, and people appreciate that. People really appreciate that because they want to. I got to make sure that they are going in here with eyes wide open kind of stuff. So because, to me, my clients are usually for life. I work by referral. So I truly rely on them referring me to their friends and families, that kind of stuff. So, and if I don't do a good job, if I'm not honest with them, then
right. Well, I figured
my whole business falls apart.
Somebody might have ended up on your radar at one point that was not going to have a happy experience. But I'm glad that by the time folks get to you, they've got enough self-awareness and understanding of what they want and need and can afford that you can help guide them. So that's terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's very, like, I think, you and I discussed, the difference between like a Denver market and the big differences between, the Front Range, a little more in kind of, the big city kind of markets kind of versus up here in the secondary market. First of all, sometimes I work with clients, looking for a property for 2 to 3 years. Okay.
Right.
Because it is a discretionary purchase. It's a second home. It's not like the kids have to go to high school next, in the fall and they need to hurry up. Okay. So it's, I work with my clients and sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years and that's fine.
Wow.
They'll come up here and some of them will, they'll come out here during the summertime or on vacation. We'll go see 2 or 3 homes and they said, we're not ready to buy it. And they'll come out next year again and then next year and then said, hey, Tom, we're finally ready to go. And, and I'm always here for them. Okay. So, versus like in the Denver market, usually people are more motivated and quicker purchase, quicker sales, because a lot of times they're moving because of their work or they're moving because of the kids' education, the schools. So it's it's just a little bit different,
Different urgency, it sounds like.
Huge. Okay.
Yeah.
So we just try to, and I don't pressure anybody to do anything, of course.
Oh no, I've known you long enough. I don't think you've got a pressureful bone in your body. Very collaborative, actually. I like your style.
And I think what I really enjoy working with you, DeDe, is we always talk about this fiduciary responsibility, and you're a fiduciary financial advisor kind of stuff.
Right.
And I pride myself on doing the same thing with my clients. I want to make sure that they're getting what they want and why they want it and at the right place. And if it's not, then we'll push it off.
Yeah.
We'll push it off for a year or 2 or 3 years, whatever it takes. Okay.
There'll be something else, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Good.
And if it's not right for them and it's not right for me, then we just move on.
Yeah. What kind of surprises do people find? You mentioned a couple differences, like urgency in a mountain market versus in a city. How about, are there other things that surprise folks about living in the mountains or buying in the mountains?
So some of the expenses, I wrote a couple of things down. The HOAs seem to surprise people a lot of how much they're paying for it. HOA fees could be, oh my goodness, anywhere from a couple $100, $200-$300 to $1,200 a month. Okay. But what folks don't realize a lot of times is, there's more reasonable HOAs than others, is that what those HOA fees cover. Because typically in a neighborhood, in a big neighborhood, let's say in the Front Range, you pay HOA, you get architectural review. You pay minimal. You pay $25, maybe $100 a month. You get very little from that besides just the community kind of stuff. Here, people get, some of these HOAs will cover the heat. They'll cover the heat, the firewood, even the cable television, the Wi-Fi, the water, sewer, hot water.
That's sweet.
Depending on it helps to know the market and different communities because everyone's just a little bit different. But at least, so when you're paying $400 or $500, people say, wow, that's a lot of money. But when they realize what they're getting for it, it's like, okay, you're paying a little bit extra for the property management of it, and you don't have to worry about it. But other than that, either way, you're going to be paying for those services.
Right. At the end of the day, it costs the same.
It costs the same. Plus,
is it bundled or unbundled?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that makes good sense. But it
is a sticker shocker. I mean, it is a sticker shocker when you see $700 HOA fee a month, and then like, wow. Well, once you understand it, once we kind of peel back the onion on what's in it, kind of stuff.
Well, it helps you realize that $700 is what it's going to cost you anywhere, probably.
Yes,
comparable property. Yeah.
It does. Okay. But so it's kind of more. So we have a lot of surprises, but that's probably my number one thing. A lot of times when I show condos, like, wow, Tom, this is so expensive, and then we kind of peel it back. For some of the homes, it's a unique kind of thing. It's up here. We have oh my goodness, some of the utilities. We have a program called owed but not due, okay, on water, okay, on sewer, okay, which is
Owed
very
but not due.
oh, it's called owed but
Okay.
not due, okay. So the Blue River Sanitation Department rolled out this program several years ago, 2 homes, and they were connecting homes from the septic system into the public sewer that they
Oh,
just built, okay.
okay.
But in order to get people to connect it, they said, well, we'll connect you for free, but you're going to have owed but not due. So you're owed this money. We are owed this money, but it's not due right now. Okay. So when you
Okay.
sell this home, okay, all of a sudden, we had, and there's been surprises at closing, about a week or so in advance that somebody didn't realize that, the sanitation department now wants $10,000 because your home is connected to sewer, but it's never been paid. So now who's going to pay it? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's either the new buyer or the seller, and sometimes it's more obvious now because we do the checks more than they did in the past. But sometimes the seller bought the house not even knowing that he had this thing owed but due, owed but not
Um,
due on a house. So now all of a sudden, sometimes we get closing and it's like five, $10,000, $15,000, depending on the size of the house.
wow.
Yeah. And then the county says, well, the Blue Sanitation Department says, well, it's still really not due until you pull a permit if you want to build a new bathroom in your house or a new bedroom in a house.
Oh, you can
That's the only
kick that
time
can down the road. Wow.
you can keep, yeah. So it's not so it's just little nuances of Summit County,
Yeah.
and I do work also in Park County, like in the Fairplay in the Alma area, like Placer Valley and Alma is like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to Breck, that kind of stuff. So a lot of homes up there, but they have unique properties with, that's all septic and well. Okay. So when you're working with a buyer,
Can you get financing on the septic well homes?
you do.
Okay.
But we do work with more the local lenders up here. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure any other lenders are listening to this thing, but the local lenders know how to work through the septic and well and the HOA issues and
Okay.
whatnot kind of stuff. But absolutely. So we get, but there's septic inspections. There's a different septic inspection for Summit County than it is for Park County. Okay.
Got it.
It'd be nice to have the same, but they're not.
Well, no, because it's a different county. It's a different kingdom, right?
Yeah. Yes. And they have to make their own money. Okay.
Yeah. So how's financing affecting the transactions up in the mountains these days? I mean, we've got record low interest rates, but that also, my experience down here on the Front Range is the mortgage folks are just up to their eyeballs. They're so swamped in trying to do refis.
They are. And we're the same way up here in the mountains. Okay. Now, the good thing is that the number, I've been in this industry for about 7.5 years, 8 years now. And I have great people that I work with, that I team up with for my mortgages. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely refer my clients to, depending on the home, and different clients, I refer to different mortgage brokers or bankers, that kind of stuff.
Self-employed, W-2,
exactly.
septic, not,
some are better than others. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that does make a difference. And so it's important that the banker has done deals up here, or those deals kind of fall apart near the end.
Yeah.
And usually because the loan objection deadline, as we call it in a part of the contract, is usually about 4 or 5 days, maybe a week at the most, before you close on a property. Yeah. And that's the last day that the buyer can cancel if they can't get the loan. It's usually the 4 or 5 days, and they still get and typically they would get their earnest money back because there's loan objection deadlines in the contract. So it's very critical when I work with the buyers and the sellers is to understand. And if I'm working with the sellers, I want to make sure that the buyer is well qualified, and I'm working very closely with the buyer's mortgage broker to make sure that we're not going to be waiting until a week before closing to find out whether they're not going to qualify or they're going to walk from this deal, and then we're back on the market again after 45 days being off the market. So it's that, and our season is here short, versus for when I'm working with, with the buyer kind of stuff, I want to make sure that they are getting the right lender to help them along the process, so actually they can close on a house. Because people don't go in here. Most people, I never had one that goes into a deal that doesn't want to close. I mean, people they go into the deal with the intent, I want to buy this house or this condo, because and they're not, people don't play games like this. Okay. So it hurts, and it's very emotional at the end, both for the buyer and the seller, when the whole deal falls apart because of the lender, and because the lender didn't understand, the septic permits or the well permits, or the HOA didn't qualify, or something unique about this property, or the insurance. They couldn't get insurance because there are too many trees around the house. That's not a mortgage problem now. It's an insurance.
It is, but if you can't get insurance, you can't get the mortgage.
You can't get insurance, you can't get the mortgage.
Right. Okay. So how about on the appraisal side? I know here in Denver that the appraisals are lagging the market sales values. And so a lot of folks are having to come to closing here in Denver with extra money to close that gap. Are you seeing that as well?
It's the same thing here. Okay. Yeah. And I got to give a shout out to your appraisers. I mean, they are.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, even here it's hard. Okay. For the appraisers, it's like, I think when in the front range, when it's like this, when you price out a home, okay, mm-hmm. in the front range, you have neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods have very similar homes. They're different from house to house, of course, but they're usually in the same neighborhood. They're similar sized homes, 2-car garage, smaller lots, kind of stuff. So it's easier to price those houses, okay. Yeah. And the appraisers then have a hard time, when a house really sells for a lot more money than it was listed for. They don't have comps because they have to use the comps closest to that property. Okay.
Right. And there might not be any.
In the mountains, the difference is that all of our homes here, we have less neighborhoods. Okay. And even in the neighborhoods, each home was custom built originally.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a big builder built out all these homes. Now, we have a couple of neighborhoods like that, but for the most part, they're unique homes, even though they're in the same neighborhood. And it could be a home from 3,000 feet to 5,000 square feet,
sure.
in next door to each other. Okay. Right. 1-car garage and a 4-car garage. So the appraisers here, I think, would almost have an easier time finding the similar home to appraise to, because they can do a bigger circle, they can get a bigger circumference looking for comps that are comparable to this home.
Yeah.
So instead of being just in a couple block area, here they go 10 miles outside, say, hey, here's a similar home. It's close to the area, okay? But it's a very similar home to here, but it's so the price per square foot and that kind of stuff. So they have a better way of adjusting the price and making the home, I think, appraise. Okay. But we do have same issues here. Some of the homes they don't appraise, and then, it's either the buyer pays the difference kind of stuff, or negotiate the difference. And in this market, it's more that the buyer picks up the difference.
That seems to be standard. So you guys are dealing with a super hot market as well.
We are. Okay. Now we're not as crazy, depending on, and DeDe, really truly depending on the pricing of the homes. The lower the price of a home or a condo, the more competition there is, because there's more buyers looking at it.
More buyers for it, yeah.
When you're in a million and above and 2 million kind of stuff, there's less buyers. But it's still competitive, but you don't get 17 offers on $1 million house. Okay?
Yeah, but we've been hearing the dozen offers on the starter homes here in Denver always.
Yeah. So we'll get competing offers, but it's going to be more on the higher end homes, single digits kind of stuff, 5 or 6. But it only takes 2 to compete for the house. Okay.
Yeah.
It only takes 1 contract. But for the lower ones, we do. It's homes in a $600,000-$700,000 range. We'll have. Same thing like in the Denver market kind of stuff, 12 to 15 offers, in the first couple of days kind of stuff, because there's so few of those homes available that people truly want them, and they want them quickly.
Wow.
And the appreciation's here.
Sounds like you're having to invest a ton of time to stay on top of everything that's happening up there.
I try. I do. Yeah. I do. Okay. Every single day.
So we're just about to wrap up. Do you have one nugget of advice that you would like potential buyers of mountain properties to know? What would you wish they knew before they got started?
Oh my goodness, that's a trick question.
I know I didn't warn you about
this. I was going to say it's a good question, but it's more of a trick question.
It's not a trick.
Bad advice. What bad advice they got? I'm trying to understand.
What advice would you like them to have? What do you wish they knew before they got to your doorstep?
It's really understanding our, front ranges are more of the out-of-state clients. is truly understanding our climate here. Okay.
Yeah. Understand that it's
Because
cold.
people,
We wear sweaters in May, right?
yes, we wear sweaters in May, kind of stuff, and there is a mud season. Okay.
Yeah.
And the winters can be harsh. I mean, we could get, 400 inches of snow in Breckenridge. Okay. Which,
yay. And
for the people that live here and love it, we just love it. Okay. Because
right.
there's more powder days and more ski days. But if you don't expect that, okay, and it's an eye opener. Okay.
Right.
But on the other side, DeDe, our summers here are so beautiful.
Oh.
If we get above 75, 80 degrees tops, it's a hot day.
Yeah.
And the evenings are still in the 40s, and homes don't have air conditioning. Okay. We just have windows and ceiling fans, and that's it. So you still open up the window.
Next to no bugs, by the way. I'll put that.
Yeah, we have very few bugs. Yeah. Bugs don't live up here at 9,000 feet.
No, they don't. So just if anybody is anti-bug, this is the place to shop.
It is. Okay.
Very good. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today. I learned a ton. You know so much. And anybody out there who has more questions about buying a property in the mountains, you can reach out to Tom Koslowski or shoot me an email, and I will connect the two of you.
Yeah.
Until a couple of weeks from now, we'll be back live at noon on Tuesdays and Fridays. Fridays, we have great interviews. Tuesdays, we'll be talking technical questions on the financial planning world. And for now, we'll wish you a great weekend. Bye-bye.
DeDe, thank you.
All right.